OK, let's come back home now. And tens of thousands of workers in the community services sector are celebrating this morning pay rises of up to 45%. It's a sector dominated by women, and it was the gender pay gap that won the case before Fair Work Australia. But employer groups are concerned unions will now push this decision as a precedent, and it could lead to a wages breakout. Joydeep Hor is a workplace lawyer and the managing principal at the group People and Culture Strategies, and he joins us now from Sydney. Joydeep Hor, good morning. What's your take on this ruling by Fair Work Australia?
Well, clearly it's a very significant decision. Fair Work Australia has, not for the first time, mind you, but taken an active role from a societal point of view in addressing gender inequality, at least from the point of view of remuneration. That's not a role that has been actively played by Fair Work Australia in the last decade or so. In recent times, I think Fair Work Australia's role has been dominated by Qantas and other high-profile unfair dismissal cases and things like that. So it's a very important societal issue. The significance of the decision, I can understand there's some apprehension amongst employers and employer groups about a wages breakout. I'm not so sure that that's an apprehension that will necessarily be borne out with the passage of time.
Is it your view that these, and it is mainly women in community services sectors, were long overdue for not just a pay rise, but a pay rise of this magnitude?
It certainly is a significant pay rise. When you look at the percentage increases, you're looking at bands going from 19% to 41%, and that's very significant in percentage terms. But to put it in context, we're not talking about workers who are on significant levels of remuneration at the moment. So I think that's an important point of context that has been overlooked a little bit. The other issue is that you're quite right that this sector is one that was very much ripe for the picking for this kind of application. It's an industry, the social community services and disability services industry is one which is dominated by women. These issues are always going to be more pronounced in that kind of industry than they will in certain other industries.
You were saying before that you don't think this will lead to other unions using this as a precedent, but already this morning we have reports of aged care nurses, at the very least, trying to use this ruling as just that, as a precedent to argue their case for higher wages. So we could see some sort of, for want of a better expression, pattern bargaining erupting here.
I don't think there's any doubt that there will be some activity, particularly in the early days following this particular decision. But I don't think that this is going to be something that will be widespread across every Australian industry. I think you would have to look at those particular industries where you've got a similar factual substratum to what you do in the social community and disability services industry, and the aged care nurses would be one such industry, and there will be a handful of others. So the next few months, I can expect that there'll be some unions who will be pushing, at least from an exploratory point of view, to see how far they can go.
OK, Joydeep Hor from People and Culture Strategies, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Pleasure.